Xiao Chen traveled to the world of Dou Po Cang Qi, which belongs to the world of Dou Qi. Xiao Yan, Xiao Xun'er, Nalan Yanran. Young talents emerged one after another. And Xiao Chen was just a sweeping worker in the Xiao family's Douqi Pavilion, and it wasn't until the check.in system was activated that his fate was officially changed. At Douqi Pavilion, he signed into the third-ranked Jinglian Demon Fire on the Strange Fire list. By Xiao Xun'er's side, he signed in for the Xian level advanced skill Nong Yanjue. At Nalan Yanran's place, he signed in 3 Douqi powder. He can sign in for treasures that others cannot obtain. He can sign in for treasures that others have. As long as he wants, he can sign in on the Douqi continent. Keywords of the novel. Dou Po. Starting from a floor sweeping worker, sign in Invincible without a pop-up window. Dou Po. Starting from a floor sweeping worker, sign in Invincible without a pop-up window. Download the complete text. Dou Po. Starting from a floor sweeping worker, sign in Invincible with the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Opening check in Jinglian Yaohuo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Opening check in Jinglian Yaohuo, Xiao Yan, Douzhe Li, Sanduan. Level. Low. A middle-aged man shouted in an indifferent tone next to the testing magic stone monument. As soon as the middle-aged man finished speaking, a mocking commotion immediately erupted in the crowded square. 3 Dan. This is also called a genius boy. Haha. Hey, this trash has really ruined the face of the family. Among the noisy crowd, there was only a young man in green clothes silently watching, without saying a word. He can clearly distinguish his identity. He is just an ordinary worker, who has the right to comment on the young master of the Xiao family. Moreover, as a person of 2 generations, he has already experienced the warmth and coldness of the world. If others have no ill intentions towards him, then he will not have any ill intentions towards others. After watching the excitement for a while, Xiao Chen walked towards the Douqi Pavilion with a broom. Since he crossed over, he has become a laborer in the Xiao family. It seems that he has been sweeping the floor since childhood, and his parents in this world are no longer on earth. Douqi Pavilion is the most important place of the Xiao family, where all the Douqi Gong techniques collected by the Xiao family for hundreds of years are stored. As the most important place of the family, the guards here are comparable to the emperor's palace on television. Even the son of the head of the family cannot enter casually. Only after holding that special ceremony can he enter for a short while. But Xiao Chen can. Not only can he enter every day, but he will also be scolded if he doesn't go one day. Glancing at the plaque of the huge attic, it read the 3 ancient-style characters, Douqi Pavilion. Xiao Chen stepped in with 1 foot. After entering, it does not mean that one can obtain the martial arts. In the Douqi Pavilion, each martial art has a faint light curtain, which is a protective device. To obtain the martial arts, one must break the light curtain, which is similar to the anti-theft glass in an exhibition hall. Oh, how great it would be to cultivate these techniques. Xiao Chen longed for these techniques more than anyone else in his heart, but he also knew that it was impossible for him to obtain them now. Finally, Xiao Chen struggled to shift his gaze to the ground and bent down to start sweeping the floor. At this moment, Xiao Chen's body trembled. A check.in panel suddenly appeared on the ground. Lying trough, Xiao Chen rubbed his eyes, looking again, sleeping trough, still there. His system is here. At this moment, he was so excited that he was about to jump up. Golden finger. Check-in system. Cowardly. In today's era, who doesn't know the existence of a system? After waiting hard for a month, it didn't make him despair. Xiao Chen squatted on the ground and carefully poked with his fingers for a while. He quickly understood the usage of the check.in system, which is a random check.in system that can be checked in at any location. However, the check.in location will be directly linked to the check.in reward, which means that the best thing about this location is the upper limit of the check that IN reward. After finishing his research, Xiao Chen took a deep breath and then pressed his thumb heavily on the sign-in. The next moment. Successful check that IN, first check that IN record achieved, reward doubled. Reward, Pure Lotus Demon Fire. Looking at the sudden appearance of a lotus-shaped flame in front of me, like a lotus flower in bud waiting to bloom, the mist rolling under the rhizome like a cloud appeared even more imposing. No, it was full of immortal energy. Xiao Chen was directly stunned. Is this the Pure Lotus Demon Fire? After a while, Xiao Chen finally thought of an awkward question. How can this thing be absorbed? Finally, Xiao Chen tried to pull the lotus flowers down from the clouds with his hands. In the next moment, the pure lotus demon in his hand was burned into a small flame, directly penetrating into Xiao Chen's eyebrows. Suddenly, a wicked fire rose in Xiao Chen's heart. Oh, demon fire. Then, Xiao Chen began to digest a large amount of information about the pure lotus demon fire that came out of his heart. Jinglian Yaohuo is the third-ranked abnormal fire on the abnormal fire list. Anything touched by it will be purified into nothingness. After reading it, Xiao Chen's heart was filled with 4 words, terrifying. After a while, Xiao Chen calmed down his excitement and picked up the broom that had fallen to the ground. He looked around and saw no one paying attention, and quickly slipped out of the Douqi Pavilion. Xiao Chen headed straight to the big mountain behind Xiao Mansion, and by the time he climbed halfway up the mountain, it was already completely dark. I looked around and found a big tree that looked quite pleasing to the eye. Let's use it to test the power of the strange fire. Xiao Chen stood 3 meters away from the big tree, took a deep breath, and then pushed his palms forward towards the tree. Jinglian Demon Fire. Suddenly, he felt a scorching force fly out of his palm, which was a light red lotus-shaped flame. In an instant, lotus-shaped flame spread across the tree in front of him, which was even thicker than a human, suddenly turned into nothingness, leaving only a large pit 3 or 4 meters wide. Lying trough. It's really terrifying. In the midst of Xiao Chen's extreme shock, he suddenly felt as if he was feeling very empty. Then his legs softened, and he collapsed on the grass, fainting. At the same time, on the mountaintop, the father and son of the Xiao family, who were chatting, suddenly felt a very powerful force. The father and son exchanged a glance, both seeing the shock in each other's eyes. There. Xiao Zhan pointed to a firelight below the mountain. Who is using such powerful techniques on the back mountain of the Xiao family? Whether it's an enemy or a friend, as the head of the Xiao family, one must go and explore the truth. Let's go take a look. Quickly, 2 figures appeared halfway up the mountain. Is this? There was only a big pit in front of them, and there was another person lying next to them. Their clothes were almost burned, but it was vaguely distinguishable that they were members of the Xiao family. The mysterious powerhouse has disappeared. Father, he's still alive. Carry him down the mountain. Xiao Zhan looked around without any movement. It seemed that the mysterious powerhouse had already walked away. 1 hour later, the prominent members of the Xiao family gathered in the hall, listening to a laborer crying about their previous experiences. Woo! I was so miserable, so I got off work and went to the back mountain to see if the animal trap had caught a rabbit. However, I ran into an old man with a white beard, and he just poked forward with his finger. The tree in front of me exploded. Do you see what that person looks like? Asked the second elder of the Xiao family sitting above the hall. I didn't see it too clearly. Xiao Chen shook his head. The 3 elders asked a few more questions. Let Xiao Chen go back, after all, he is still very good at acting. How could ancient people see through the acting skills of modern people? It seems that this strong man has no ill intentions towards the Xiao family. This is good news for the Xiao family. Recently, 2 other major families in Utan city are plotting to acquire the Xiao family's neighborhood. Gabriel and Obapa are about to come to negotiate. If there is the support of this strong person, negotiations will be more proactive. When he returned, Xiao Chen walked very fast and always kept his head down. Although he doesn't seem quite right, who would care about a small handyman? The Jinglian Demon Fire is already a very strong fire on the list of abnormal fires. Initially, Xiao Yan put in a lot of effort to obtain it. But with his current strength, he can't even use abnormal fire now. It seems that we still need to improve our own martial arts. P.S. I recommend a book to my friends called People Quietly Become Rich in Sihyuan. Those who are interested can go and read it. He Yuzhu, crossing over the silly pillar in the courtyard filled with emotions. There is a system. Distribute tasks to NPCs based on real-life characters, including NPC character tags, and compare rewards for accepting and rejecting tasks. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Xiao Mei. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Xiao Mei. The next day, Xiao Chen came to the Douqi Pavilion again. After summoning the system, click sign in directly. The next moment. Successful check.in rewards refining fire and burning. Xiao Chen immediately had a dark red scroll in his hand. He couldn't wait to open the scroll for a while, then turned it over and looked at the back of the scroll. He frowned and whispered. How could it be a yellow rank? Xiao Chen carefully recalled that this seemed to be the top fire attribute technique in the Xiao family, and there was no better fire attribute technique than this in the Douqi Pavilion. The higher the level of cultivation, the better. The higher the yellow level, the better. After careful consideration, Xiao Chen did not learn, finally, throw this practice into the system space for storage. He remembered that Xiao Xun'er had a Xuanjia advanced fire attribute technique, which he originally intended to give to Xiao Yan. That's it. Xiao Chen has just made up his mind. A stern reprimand suddenly rang out from behind. Xiao Chen, what are you standing there for? Have you finished sweeping the floor? If you don't want to eat, why don't you want to eat? Xiao Chen was startled and turned around to see Xiao Dahu, the head of the Xiao family. Through the remaining memories, Xiao Chen knew that this guy was not a good thing. Because Xiao Chen is an orphan, and there are no brothers and sisters in his family. He is the most easily bullied. Xiao Dahu is the one who bullies him the most ruthlessly. It's okay not to give him a good face on weekdays. Even the monthly money given by the Xiao family needs to be confessed by Xiao Chen. I came to trouble him today because Xiao Chen didn't provide him with the monthly payment in a timely manner yesterday. Xiao Chen is not as dull as the original owner. He walked over with a smile and took out the bag of monthly money he received yesterday from his arms, all of which he stuffed into Xiao Dahu's hand. Xiao Dahu felt his hand sink, weighed it, and immediately understood that this should be all the monthly money that Xiao Chen received yesterday. What does it mean? Is it all filial piety given to him? He was a bit confused and didn't understand what medicine Xiao Chen was selling in his gourd. This kid used to be stingy and search around. If he didn't scold him several times, he wouldn't give himself filial money. Every time, he would only give a little. What's going on today? How does it feel like a different person? Uncle, I used to be immature, but now that I've grown up, I understand. My parents left early, and now you're the closest person to me. There's food, drink, and shelter in the Xiao family, and there's nothing to spend money on. Besides, I'm still young and can't save money, so it's better to leave it with Uncle. Can you help me save it? Upon hearing this, Xiao Dahu was immediately overjoyed. If he were to receive all of Xiao Chen's monthly income in the future, it would be equivalent to having a stable income. Xiao Dahu affectionately took Xiao Chen's hand and said hypocritically, Xiao Chen, you're absolutely right. Uncle is the closest person you've ever been to in this world. Back then, your father and I had a close relationship. Alas, it's a pity that your father left early. Otherwise, your father and I would have joined forces. Who would have dared to look down on us in the Xiao family? Over the years, Uncle has been a bit strict with you. Don't blame Uncle, he's always doing it for your own good. I can go to hell with you, right? Are you a little stricter? Xiao Chen cursed fiercely in his heart, but his face didn't show any signs. He blinked hard, trying to squeeze out a little tears, pretending to be very moved. No blame, no blame. Uncle is always for my good. If I blame Uncle again, will I still be human? After speaking, Xiao Chen immediately added another sentence in his heart. Yes, I am not human, I am your father. Xiao Chen, come to my house tonight and have your aunt cook you a delicious meal. You probably haven't seen Mayer for a long time, have you? No, cousin Mayer is a genius in our Xiao family. At a young age, she is already in the 7th stage of Douqi, and her future is limitless. As soon as he mentioned his daughter, a proud expression appeared on Xiao Dahu's face. Hehe, it's just 7 paragraphs. He spent half a day at Versailles, but when he saw Xiao Chen not answering, he thought it was a blow to him. He quickly patted his shoulder and comforted him, saying, in fact, there is still success without cultivation. You see, there are many people in our Xiao family who do not cultivate fighting spirit, so don't take it to heart. He never thought that the kid in front of him was planning on how to mess with his daughter. Xiao Mei is now standing tall and graceful, her body has grown, especially her charming face, which is unforgettable. Xiao Chen's heart is starting to stir. No, how could it be? At night, Xiao Dahu's residence. A middle-aged woman with a plump figure and a beautiful face is busy cooking. Mom, what's delicious to cook today? A 14 or 15-year-old girl with a slender figure, pure and charming, bounced in from outside. Wow, why are you cooking so many dishes? Are there any customers today? The little girl opened her mouth slightly and let out an exclamation of surprise. If there are any guests, I don't know what illness your father is suffering from, and I insist on calling that Xiao Chen, who has no father or mother, to come for dinner. The middle-aged woman was very angry, and the shovel in her hand used to stir fry with more force than before, shaking the 2 lumps of meat on her chest. The woman surnamed Wang is the wife of Xiao Dahu. More than a decade ago, she was also one of the top 10 beauties of Yaohuo, famous for her plump figure in Utan city. How could it be him? Xiao Mei was very disappointed upon hearing this. She thought it was Xiao Ning. Recently, her parents have reminded her to have a good relationship with Xiao Ning. Now that Xiao Yan has passed away, Xiao Ning is the hope for the future of the Xiao family. As for Xiao Chen, what is he? It's been over 10 years since I last talked to him. If it weren't for playing with him when I was a child, she wouldn't have remembered this person. Half an hour later, all the dishes were ready and placed on the table. Mother, why hasn't he come yet? Just as she waited for a while, Xiao Mei couldn't wait anymore. Don't ask me, ask your father. I don't know what you're thinking. Why did you ask him to come for dinner? He gave me that stinky money, and it's not enough for me to buy rouge, water, and powder. Aunt Wang said angrily, almost slapping the table. All right. This dish was just served for a while and I couldn't wait anymore. Xiao Chen is an honest child. When his father left, he held my hand and asked me to take care of him. It's been so many years and he hasn't even come home for a meal. Oh, looking back now, I feel guilty about my brother's spirit in heaven. Okay, he's here. P.S. This book will always be free, and the contract has been sent. Readers can rest assured to enter the pit. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Advanced Martial Arts of the Mysterious Level. Nong Yanju. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Advanced Martial Arts of the Mysterious Level. Nong Yanju, uncle, auntie, I've kept you waiting for a long time. Xiao Chen filled his hands with gifts and walked quickly in from outside. How did Xiao Chen become like this? Xiao Mei quietly glanced at him, her eyes full of disappointment. He is not as tall as Xiao Ning, and his appearance is not as handsome as Xiao Ning. And at this moment, he was still dressed in the clothes of a Xiao family laborer, going to the house as a guest. Not to mention the brocade robe and jade robe, didn't he even have decent clothes? This made Xiao Mei very disgusted. "You're such a child. You're here right away. What else are you taking? Just sit down and treat this as your own home." Xiao Dahu saw that Xiao Chen had brought a lot of things, and his face was immediately filled with a smile. He quickly got up to take the gift and arranged for Xiao Chen to sit down. Aunt Wang saw Xiao Chen sitting next to her and immediately moved aside, as if Xiao Chen would dirty her clothes. All of this was seen by Xiao Chen, and it was in line with his intentions. He has heard about Aunt Wang's beautiful history since childhood, and Xiao Chen still finds her dirty. If not, Xiao Dahu's identity as a butler is temporarily useful to him, allowing him to freely enter and exit the Xiao mansion. He doesn't have to have endless work to do all day, which affects his attendance every day, so he won't come to give gifts. "Xiao Chen, you should listen to your uncle more in the future, and he won't treat you unfairly." "Yes." Xiao Chen nodded repeatedly, but his heart didn't agree. During the meal, Aunt Wang said a few more words to Xiao Chen. Seeing that no matter what she said to him, she nodded and said yes, without any of her own opinions, she was completely disappointed with him. "I couldn't help but compare him with the child named Xiao Ning from my elder's hometown. They were like a heaven and a earth. Xiao Ning not only has talent for cultivating fighting spirit, but also looks like a jade tree facing the wind. Every time, he can tease himself, which is very soothing. It's not like this kid following a gourd." A quick meal. After finishing his meal, Xiao Chen stood up to bid farewell. His purpose of coming today has been achieved, so there is no need to waste his time here. The next morning, hundreds of miscellaneous workers dressed in blue stood neatly in the courtyard. Today was the first day of the month, and the steward of the Xiao family was going to give them a lecture and arrange tasks. Xiao Dahu is not a big deal in the eyes of the clan chief and elders, but he is a remarkable figure in the eyes of these miscellaneous workers. It is better for county officials to take charge now, referring to people like him. Otherwise, why did Xiao Chen give this old man a gift yesterday? He has already seen through everything. I can't get rid of his palm for now, it's better to establish a good relationship with him. "Xiao Chen, from today on, you will be responsible for cleaning the Xiao family's backyard. Remember, the backyard is where the Xiao family's family resides, and when you arrive there, you must be diligent and not lazy." Xiao Dahu read Xiao Chen's name expressionlessly and pretended to be a business person, giving a serious warning. For a moment, many eyes fell on Xiao Chen, some were envious, some were surprised, and more were jealous. Cleaning the backyard of the Xiao family is the easiest job among these miscellaneous workers, because the backyard is inhabited by the family members of the clan chief and elders, and there are naturally maids cleaning it. Wherever they are needed, they only need to pretend to go around every day. Then wherever you go, no one cares, there's no better job than this. After Xiao Dahu finished speaking, Xiao Chen took a broom and went to the backyard. After wandering around the backyard, he finally found out Xiao Xun'er's residence. But after running back and forth 3 times, he never saw Xiao Xun'er. "What's going on? What about people? Did you go play with Xiao Yan again?" Forget it, forget it." Xiao Chen chose to sign in directly. Successful check.in rewards coagulation powder. Coagulation powder. Healing medicine. What's the use of this thing for me? Xiao Chen thought for a moment, it must be because he didn't sign in with Xiao Xun'er. On the 3rd day, Xiao Chen finished his work early and then wandered around the Xiao mansion with the aim of encountering Xiao Xun'er by chance. Hard work pays off for those who care. He wandered around the Xiao mansion for a while and finally found Xiao Xun'er, but Xiao Yan was also there. Xiao Chen followed for a while and found that Xiao Xun'er had no intention of leaving alone. He couldn't keep following and could only sign in. Successful check that IN rewards foundation building spirit liquid. Lying trough, how could this be? Xiao Chen lowered his head and saw a small bottle in his hand. Looking up at Xiao Yan again, this should be from Xiao Yan's body. At night, while taking a shower, Xiao Chen took out the foundation building spirit liquid from the system space and poured a little into the wooden bucket where he took a bath. It was considered as shower gel and should not be wasted. After Xiao Chen jumped into the barrel, he smelled the aroma emanating from it, which was a bit like the old shower gel. Without wasting time, Xiao Chen tried to start practicing Douqi. Sure enough, with the assistance of the foundation building spirit liquid, he felt that his cultivation speed was much faster than before. While taking a bath, he pondered why he received Xiao Yan's foundation building spirit liquid when he clearly wanted to sign into Xiao Xun'er's martial arts. Is it due to distance? It seems that we should be closer to Xiao Xun'er next time, or sign in when she is alone. She rarely spends time alone, unless she goes to Xiao Xun'er's residence at night. There's no reason, how could anyone sweep the floor at night? Either a lunatic or a voyeur. Moreover, being caught as a servant like him would be a severe beating, regardless of the severity of the situation. Xiao Chen is planning to go earlier next time. On the fourth day, just after daybreak, Xiao Chen ran to Xiao Xun'er's yard with a broom. Xiao Chen pretended to clean Xiao Xun'er's yard while secretly checking in. Successful check that IN rewards inflammation control. Upon mastering the technique, Xiao Chen just glanced at it and directly chose to store it in the system space. It's too dangerous to stay in Xiao Xun'er's courtyard for a long time. You should know that there is a Douhuang protecting her in the dark. As soon as he lifted his feet, he heard the sound of legendary stories in the room. Miss, I just received news that Yun Lanzong Nalan Yanran will come to her door to withdraw her marriage soon. Oh. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? My subordinate believes that this matter has nothing to do with us, so it's better to get the Tuasha ancient jade as soon as possible. If you have a relationship with brother Xiao Yan, then you have a relationship with me. I don't allow anyone to harm brother Xiao Yan, but if Nalan Yanran withdraws, won't it be good for me? After returning, Xiao Chen saw that there was no one in the courtyard, so he inserted the door latch and took out Nong Yanjue. A simple scroll with a fiery jade color appeared in his hand. This is the advanced technique of fire attribute Xian level. Xiao Chen was amazed. No waste of time, learn immediately. Just as he finished learning, Xiao Chen immediately had all the memories of Nong Yanjue in his mind, and there was no need to take any detours. Xiao Mei began to cultivate happily. Just as he was practicing, a loud noise came from the courtyard. Quick, fast, fast. What happened? Someone came to provoke me. Who's so brave? You even came to your door, are you looking for death? Did Nalan Yanran come to the door to divorce? Sleeping trough, how come it's so fast? Xiao Chen immediately jumped off the bed and rushed out with his shoes on. He's not going to watch the excitement, he is trying to gather qi and disperse. Gathering qi and dispersing is the best guarantee for becoming a fighter, and now he just needs it. After all, the system is not a luck maker, and if the cyclone of the coalescence bucket fails, it will waste a lot of time. Suddenly, Xiao Chen's footsteps stopped, and he suddenly remembered that he had just signed in today and could only sign in tomorrow. Lying trough, point your back. P.S. Seeking recommendations, collecting, and seeking, end of this chapter. Chapter 4. 7-Star Master in One Move. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. 7-Star Master in One Move. What to do? Xiao Chen's heart was in a mess. After thinking for a while, I decided to go and take a look first. It's really not possible. When the people of Yunlan sect leave, he will follow behind, so we can't let the gathering qi scattered around our mouths run away. After a while, Xiao Chen arrived at the hall of the Xiao family. Nalan Yanran extended her 3 fingers, which were like scallions, and said, "So, I'll increase the number of qi gathering powder for you to 3. As soon as these words were spoken, the whole room was shocked. To everyone's surprise, Nalan Yanran saw everything in her eyes, and her smile grew even stronger. She proudly said, "Besides, I can also recommend you to practice at Yunlan sect." Now, the crowd in the Xiao family hall immediately boiled. What? Xiao Yan, this kid has benefited from misfortune and can actually go to Yunlan sect. With 3 gathering qi powder, our Xiao family's strength will definitely increase significantly. Envied and jealous voices emerged one after another from around, except for Xiao Chen, who held his shoulders with both hands and had a calm expression, quietly watching the commotion. "Miss Nalan, I've decided," at this point, Xiao Yan deliberately paused, as if waiting for Nalan Yanran to take the bait. "Speak up." "Divorce." "What?" "I said to divorce my wife, I want to divorce you, you slut." Xiao Yan's words completely angered the people of Yunlan sect. The old man who had been following Nalan Yanran all along also showed a fierce face and shouted loudly. "Seeking death. The Qingmu sword technique." Then, a blue dragon shadow charged towards Xiao Yan with fighting spirit. Everything happened too quickly, and everyone didn't react. No one expected that the people of Yunlan sect would suddenly take action. Actually, even the people of Yunlan sect didn't expect it. A little white-faced person who had been standing beside Nalan Yanran secretly regretted it. If he had reacted faster just now and rushed forward to teach the Xiao family a lesson, he would definitely have won Nalan Yanran's favor. Now, if the Xiao family boy is hit by Guye's fighting spirit, he will definitely die. "Hey, I haven't heard from my phone yet, it's a pity." At the same time, Xiao Yan's eyes also showed a look of fear, and many members of the Xiao family in the hall closed their eyes. Xiao Chen, on the other hand, turned his eyes directly to Xiao Zhan, the leader of the Xiao family, who was sitting at the head of the hall. He should have taken action, right? Sure enough, just as the dragon's fighting spirit was about to hit Xiao Yan's chest, Xiao Yan's father Xiao Zhan took action. "Be careful, Yener. Angry lion rampage." Then, a golden lion-shaped fighting spirit caught all the blue dragon shadows. The collision of 2 opposing forces almost overturned the hall of the Xiao family. This is the Xiao family's technique of suppressing the bottom of the box, the Xuanjia Angry Lion Rampage Gang. A bit strong, unfortunately, it's not a fire attribute, it's not Xiao Chen's dish. Due to his possession of abnormal fire, the fire attribute cultivation method is his only choice. Both sides are big fighters, and no one can do anything about it. Although they are the Yunlan sect, they did not come this time to destroy the Xiao family, so only a 7-star master followed to protect them. On the other hand, although the strength of the Xiao family is vastly different from that of Yunlan sect, this matter concerns the dignity of the entire Xiao family. How could Xiao Zhan back down? The scene froze for a moment. Finally, Nalan frowned lightly and spoke out, "All right, I'll give you the Xiao family 3 years. 3 years later, Xiao Yan, you come to Yunlan sect to compete with me in martial arts. If you lose, you must agree to divorce. If you win, Nalan will handle it as you please." "Okay, it's a deal. We've reached this point, and currently this result is already the best. We will meet later." After watching the group of people leave surrounded by Nalan Yanran, everyone around Xiao Chen was filled with indignation. Too arrogant, this doesn't even take our Xiao family seriously. Half an hour later, Xiao Chen also appeared outside the city of Utan, following the group of Yunlanzong from a distance. The people of Yunlan sect are all dressed in Assassin's Creed-style clothes, making it difficult to lose them. However, at the beginning, it was okay for Xiao Chen to follow from a distance. There were many pedestrians on the road, so he could provide cover. However, after sunset, there were no pedestrians on the entire road. At this moment, Xiao Chen was also a bit anxious. After the sky darkened, only he and the people of Yunlan's sect were rushing along the entire road. Although he was following from a distance, he appeared unusually abrupt. Even more strangely, after walking for half a day, unexpectedly, I didn't encounter any inn along the way. Xiao Chen almost collapsed. If there were an inn, the people of Yunlan's sect wouldn't have rushed overnight like this. When they check into the inn, Xiao Chen only needs to go to their room door and sign in. But now, he can't just walk up to someone and run away after signing in, can he? In fact, what he didn't know was that the people of Yunlan's sect had already discovered him. The leader of Yunlan's sect was Guyi, a 7-star fighting master. Even if Xiao Chen followed from a distance, he couldn't escape his gaze. "Miss Nalan, someone has been following us from behind," Guyi said aloud. Upon hearing these words, Nalan Yanran and others turned around and indeed saw a figure following in the distance. "I'll go ask him." The little white face beside Nalan Yanran was eager to try. Nalan nodded yen. The originally marching team immediately stopped and then turned towards Xiao Chen. Lying trough, oh no. Xiao Chen was startled when he saw the people of Yunlan's sect surrounding him, and immediately took off. No matter how fast he runs, he can't even run the great Dou master. His current strength is not even that of a Dou master, he is still a vegetable chicken with segmented Dou Qi. Zhao's family. "Kid, what are you secretly following us for?" Guyi snorted coldly and asked loudly. Xiao Chen would definitely not admit it, so he quickly waved his hand and explained, "There was a misunderstanding. I was just passing by, coincidentally." "Coincidentally? I think you have ulterior motives, right?" said the little white face with a gloomy expression. "I think you're trying to assassinate Miss Nalan." Guyi's face darkened as he put on a big hat for Xiao Chen. When he was at the Xiao family, his fighting spirit was caught by Xiao Zhan, causing him to lose face and his anger never had a chance to vent. This time, Xiao Chen himself brought it up, and Guyi will not miss this opportunity. "Did I hit the nail on the head? Then go to hell." Before Xiao Chen could speak, Guyi sentenced him to death directly. Qingmu sword technique. As the words fell, a blue dragon shadow appeared on Guyi's chest. Xiao Chen was startled. His biggest advantage is the check.in system, but he has just started to sign in and his current strength is not even that of a fighter. How can he compete with this 7-star fighting master? Although he has the pure lotus demon fire, with his strength, he can only use it once at most. But even if we kill this big fighter, what can we do? Nalan Yanran and that handsome young man are definitely not weak, there are so many people from Yunlan's sect. Not only was Xiao Chen startled, but even the little white face next to Nalan Yanran was taken aback, lying down and not giving a chance to show off. Although he thought so in his heart, he dared not speak up to stop Guyi. On the other hand, at a critical moment of life and death, Xiao Chen couldn't care too much anymore. He raised his hand and unleashed the pure lotus demon fire. I saw a flame lotus flying straight towards Guyi. What? Abnormal fire. Guyi was suddenly startled in his heart. He never dreamed that this young Xiao family kid would have a strange fire. Nalan Yanran and Xiao Bai were shocked to see what this kid was doing, which made the 7-star fighting master Guyi's face solemn. Just as Guyi gritted his teeth and prepared to defend with all his might, the Jinglian Demon Fire has already hit him. Next, his whole body immediately turned into ashes, there's nothing left. What? Is Mr. Gu dead? The faces of the members of Yunlan's sect were filled with fear. Guyi was the 7-star fighting master and the strongest among them, but now he was instantly defeated with just one move. What the hell did this kid come from? Who are you? You're not from the Xiao family. Who the hell are you? Nalan Yanran's body trembled slightly. Although she was the chief disciple of Yunlan's sect and the most outstanding genius of Yunlan's sect, she had lived under the protection of her master since childhood and had no life or death struggle with others. Even if there is, it is she who crushes others. At this moment, even the little white face who always wanted to protect Nalan Yanran in front of her was so scared that she no longer dared to protect Nalan Yanran. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. If you dare to speak up, I will. Hehe. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. If you dare to speak up, I will. Hehe. Xiao Chen stabilized his figure and sighed inwardly. Fortunately, he had been practicing hard recently and his strength had improved significantly. I didn't faint directly on the back mountain like last time. Just an ordinary person, Miss Braun Allen is worried. I originally wanted to come and see you off, but you didn't appreciate it. If you don't appreciate it, let's forget it. If you still want to kill me, then I'll have to kill him first. Xiao Chen's tone was plain, as if talking about a trivial matter. Listen, is this speaking in human language? Nalan Yanran's teeth are almost biting apart. Ordinary people. Can an ordinary person defeat the 7-star master with just one move? It was clearly you who followed behind all night, and it was you who killed our people, but it turned out to be the fault of Yunlan sect. Nalan Yanran, the first disciple of the Tang Yunlan sect, has never been so angry, but now she dares not speak up. After all, the small lives of her group are still in their hands. Please leave your name so that we can also report to the sect leader. Xiao Chen didn't reply. At this moment, he was busy opening the check.in system and saw that he could already sign in. He decisively chose to sign in. Successful check.in rewards 3 pieces of gathering qi powder. Xiao Chen immediately saw that there were 3 more Ju Qi San in the system space. Since Ju Qi San had already been obtained, there was no need to delay here. He said arrogantly, "Listen up, young master, I won't change my name or surname. Xiao Ning is me." After speaking, Xiao Chen waved his hand at Nalan Yanran and turned to leave. Seeing Xiao Chen leave, everyone in Yunlan's sect immediately breathed a sigh of relief. They had never even considered avenging Guyi, and they dared not. Even the 7-star Big Dipper has been timed, they are nothing but stinky fish and rotten shrimp. It's better to go back and report to the sect leader, and come back to retrieve the venue in the future. Just as everyone in Yunlan's sect breathed a sigh of relief, Xiao Chen suddenly stopped and turned to look at Nalan Yanran. His tone was frivolous and he said, "By the way, Miss Nalan, go back and help me pass a message to Yunyun. You don't need her to find me, I will find her soon." "Oh, and you?" Nalan Yanran and everyone were immediately stunned. At the same time, the Xiao family. 2 people dressed in black carefully sneaked in. These 2 people are very cautious, not only alternating forward, but also stopping to listen to the movement after each walk. After all, this is the residence of the Xiao family, not the home courtyard. You can enter if you want. If this is caught, my life will definitely be lost. Although the Xiao family is not the most powerful family in Wutan City, they are not ordinary families either. They are members of the Jia Lai family. The taller one is called Li San, the 3-star fighter, the shorter one is called Wang Dadao, and the 1-star fighter. This is too slow. It's impossible to find that little girl's place at dawn. By the way, what's that little girl's name? Wang Dadao, who was walking ahead, thought for a moment and said in an uncertain tone, "What's your name, Xun'er?" "Xiao Xun'er." "Oh, I remember." Li Sanyi patted his head and a flash of inspiration came through. "What Xiao Xun'er, it's Xiao Xun'er. Li Gu still has a good brain." "Li Gu, why did Master Galio point out that he wanted a little girl? Let's steal someone from the Xiao family. He looks up to us too much, doesn't he? It seems like a big shot asked for it." "Alright, hurry up, people can't steal it, at least we need to uncover the exact location. There must be an explanation when we go back. If this matter is not completed, will the young master still reward us with pills? Give me a fart, it's a good thing if you don't want your life. But if no one gave directions, how could they find someone like headless flies bumping around like them? 2 hours later, the two of them have already given up, and after discussing their arguments, they are ready to go back and hand over the task. Just walked out of the backyard of the Xiao family not far away, under a waterfall, they saw a person taking a shower in the river. Li Gu, do you think that's a woman? Why don't we take her back to work? Wang Dedeo looked straight at his white body in the water ahead. Although due to the weather, the woman was swimming in the water again, and he couldn't see clearly, his eyes still couldn't bear to blink, afraid of missing the beautiful scene. It seemed so. Li San's eyes lit up as he hadn't gone to the Yihong courtyard for a month. As he watched, he suddenly froze. There was someone lying on the other side of the trough. Immediately grabbed Wang Dedeo, who was about to come forward and catch someone, and whispered, "Someone." As soon as he finished speaking, he heard a soprano ahead. "Ah! How is it you? Don't look. Get out of here. Fool, you've been seen through long ago, just squat in the water." The man is Xiao Chen. He came back so late, so he definitely couldn't enter through the gate, otherwise he would have to question. On the other side, come out quickly. Is it exciting to sneak a peek at someone taking a shower? Xiao Chen shouted loudly at the other side. His shout startled the two black-clothed people across from him. Discovered. However, when they quickly realized that there was only a young man wearing Zhao's miscellaneous clothes across from them, they didn't worry anymore. The two of them exchanged a glance, then pulled out their big knives from their backs and swaggered out of the bushes. They were planning to chop Xiao Chen first and then play with this woman. With a loud noise coming from the trees across from her, and then two swordsmen walking out of them, Xiao Mei's face suddenly turned pale. Not only did someone peek at me, but also my innocence and small life seemed to be on the verge of being saved. She is just a fighting spirit 8th Dan and a miscellaneous worker who doesn't even have fighting spirit. How could she be a match for those two big men? Moreover, this is the back mountain of the Xiao family, and it's already late at night. Even if you shout loudly, you can't get anyone. Xiao Mei now regrets it very much. If it weren't for her playfulness in the water and washing herself up early, she wouldn't have encountered this. Haha, this kid who hasn't even grown hair wants to learn from other heroes to save the beauty. Li San laughed loudly. Xiao Chen and Xiao Mei are not very old. Even if they are geniuses in cultivation, at most they only have 5 or 6 levels of Dou Qi. They are not even fighters, so the two black-clothed people are naturally not afraid. Heroes save beauty. Xiao Chen sneered, "Fool, now it's called acting bravely in righteousness." Although Li San and Wang Dedeo didn't quite understand what Xiao Chen meant, they knew from their expressions that they were mocking them. Wang Dedeo became furious and wielded a bright and dazzling dagger as he swung toward Xiao Chen. "Die for me." Xiao Mei watched as the black-clothed man wielded a big knife and slashed toward Xiao Chen, but Xiao Chen still stood there laughing like a fool, and suddenly shouted in anger. "Xiao Chen, run quickly." Xiao Chen didn't hear in both ears, as if he were deaf. He casually waved forward, and a small red lotus-shaped flame, like a small fireball, rushed straight towards Wang Dedeo's chest. After practicing the Nong Yan Ju on his own, Xiao Yan became more proficient in controlling the abnormal fire. Now, he can easily turn the Jinglian Demon Fire into a big fireball and a small fireball. To deal with strong opponents like Guyi, the fireball naturally grows bigger and bigger. He must use one move to defeat the enemy and cannot leave any opportunity for resistance. The two guys in front of me, who are still wearing night clothes, cannot be strong at first glance. At most, they are fighters. They can be instantly killed with a small fireball the size of an egg. The Jinglian Demon Fire collided with Wang Dedeo's body, instantly turning into ashes. Even the Dedeo in his hand was no exception, leaving no residue. Ah! Xiao Mei covered her mouth and stood up from the water in shock, completely forgetting that she was currently naked. How could this be? You. Who the hell are you? Another man in black, Li San, watched his companion turn into ashes with his own eyes, and his face changed greatly. What is this fighting skill so strong? He hasn't even heard of it before, let alone seen it. Is he a master of martial arts? Can you show off your fighting spirit? Thinking of this, Li San's heart surged with endless fear. I don't even need the knife, so I tried my best to escape towards the direction of the gallery family. Want to run? Why did you go early? Xiao Chen shook his head and waved his left hand, a small fireball quickly flew over. Li San seemed to feel the arrival of death, shouting in terror to spare his life while running away at lightning speed without slowing down. But he's not as fast as Fireball. Immediately, Li San was also burned to ashes. At the last moment of his life, Li San felt as if he had been thrown into an alchemy furnace, wrapped in a scorching heat and then evaporated instantly. Xiao Chen clapped his hands and then turned his head to look at Xiao Mei, who was standing in the water like a wooden chicken. He asked, "Have you not finished washing it yet?" "Ah. Rogue. Don't look." After a while, Xiao Mei had already put on her clothes and sat next to Xiao Chen with a flushed face. She secretly glanced at Xiao Chen and suddenly realized that his profile was quite handsome. Thinking of this, Xiao Mei's face turned even redder. "What are you doing? Spring is coming. Cut, you only spring." After a while, Xiao Chen said, "Don't tell anyone about today's situation." "Why?" Xiao Mei asked subconsciously. "What's so much? Why? How can he keep a low profile and sign in the future if he wants to reveal what happened today?" Xiao Chen frowned and threatened, "If you dare to say it, I will definitely force you and then kill you." "You. This is the sealing fee," Xiao Chen said as he took out a Douqi powder from the system space and handed it to Xiao Mei. It was originally 3 coins, but on the way back, he had already eaten one, otherwise it would not have recovered so quickly, let alone killed with the pure lotus demon fire again. "Is this chi gathering powder?" Xiao Mei's eyes lit up. "Yes, you should be able to use it right away. Those who want to ascend from the 9th stage of Dou Qi to a single star Dou must condense Dou Qi Xian within their body. However, Dou Qi Xian is not very easy to condense, and gathering Qi powder ensures 100% successful coalescence." "Is it for me?" Xiao Meigang asked and immediately shook her head. "No, it's too expensive. I will have more of this in the future." Xiao Chen didn't agree and threw the Ju Qi San directly to Xiao Mei. Newcomers are not easy, seeking collectibles and recommended tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Douzhe. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Douzhe. 1 star. Looking at the 4 glittering golden characters on the black stone monument, there was a slight silence in the training ground, and soon a large volume of gasping sound sounded like a gust of wind, and everyone's expressions froze. Xiao Mei, the 1-starred one, shocked by the 4 golden characters, the tester couldn't help but shake his head and shout loudly. "Yeah," the girl's cheeks lit up with a proud smile as she listened to the examiner's call for results. "What? A 14-year-old fighter? Didn't I test her last time to be a 7th level fighter? How did she cultivate? How did she quickly rise from the 7th level of Dou Qi to a 1-star Dou practitioner? So Xiao Mei is the genius in the family." Listening to the waves of envy coming from the crowd, the smile on the girl's cheeks was even more pronounced, and vanity was a temptation that many girls couldn't resist. Standing on the stage, Xiao Mei's gaze suddenly passed through the crowd and landed on a worker outside the crowd. Listening to the announcement of the tester, Xiao Zhan on the high platform took a light breath, while the other 3 elders nodded slightly, their faces also full of shock. This cultivation speed is even more strange than Xiao Yan back then. How did she actually do it? I must ask Xiao Dahu later on how he taught such a powerful daughter, and it's time to raise his identity as Xiao Dahu's steward. Xiao Mei, who came down from the stage, was soon surrounded by others. Although she had a good talk with several sisters, she still looked at Xiao Chen from time to time outside the crowd. If it weren't for Xiao Chen's stern gaze stopping her, she would have rushed over long ago. She knows better than anyone who gave it all. Since his last return, Xiao Chen has been sweeping the floor and signing in every day, and every time he can obtain combat skills, martial arts. He signed in at the Fighting Skills Hall and obtained the yellow level intermediate fighting skill, Stone Palm. He signed in at the Fighting Skills Hall and obtained the yellow level intermediate fighting skill, Splitting Mountain Palm. He signed in at the Fighting Skills Hall and obtained the yellow rank advanced fighting skill, Iron Mountain Fist. In addition to these unremarkable fighting skills, he also signed in for the Xian level intermediate skill, Angry Lion Rampage Gang, in the Douqi Pavilion, which is a skill that only the Xiao family leader and elders are qualified to learn. However, with Xiao Chen, he casually threw it into the system space to eat dust. It was he who signed in with Xiao Yan and obtained the low-level combat skill, Sucking Palm, which piqued his interest even more. This skill was said to have been refined to perfection and can absorb thousands of pounds of huge stones. If encountering enemies, it has a fierce suction power that can forcefully pull out human blood, which is very powerful. With detailed annotations from the system, Xiao Chen quickly mastered the trick of sucking palms. However, as he was only a 5-star fighter now, the fighting energy in his body was thin, and he could not fully demonstrate the terrifying power of sucking palms. Even so, after practicing a few times, Xiao Chen became more and more fond of this fighting skill. This thing is simply a treasure trove. After returning from the training ground, Xiao Chen sat down in a quiet shade of trees, his eyes slowly closed, his soul sensed, and began to cultivate fighting spirit. After an unknown amount of time, Xiao Chen sat on a large stone with his eyes wide open and his right palm slightly curled in a claw-like shape. The fighting energy in his body quickly passed through several specific veins and positions in the palm of his hand, controlled by his consciousness. Finally, suction sprayed out in the direction pointed by Xiao Chen's palm. Goo-goo, a pigeon on the tree fluttered a few times before falling into Xiao Chen's hand. Ah, it's quite fat. Xiao Chen looked at the pigeon in his hand and whispered to himself. The little pigeon may feel the murderous aura in Xiao Chen's eyes, desperately thrusting and trying to break free from Xiao Chen's evil hand. Brother Xiao Chen. Xiao Mei appeared behind Xiao Chen holding a pile of bottles and jars. Have you brought all of them? Xiao Mei nodded like pounding garlic. Let's go then. After speaking, he picked up the pigeon and went to the river to pluck feathers. Just as Xiao Chen and Xiao Mei were roasting pigeons by the river, Xiao Dahu's home was full of high friends. As the youngest fighter of the Xiao family, can Xiao Mei not celebrate such a big celebration? The Xiao family leader, 3 elders, and high-ranking elders of the Xiao family have all arrived, and even some influential figures in Utan city have come to congratulate them. This was the most magnificent moment of Xiao Dahu's life, as Aunt Wang, dressed in brocade clothes and dressed in colorful attire, greeted guests with a smile on her face. Those who didn't know thought today was your wedding day. Hurry up and shout out your daughter, otherwise we won't drink this wine, laughed the 3rd elder of the Xiao family. That's right, Xiao Ning is specifically here to find Mayor, said the elder, giving a glance to Xiao Ning sitting next to him. Xiao Ning understood and quickly stood up, saying, Uncle, why haven't you seen Mayor's cousin? Shouldn't be shy, hiding in the room and not daring to come out. Xiao Dahu stuttered and finished, then turned his head and glared at Aunt Wang, whispering, shouldn't you go call me now? Aunt Wang looked at Xiao Dahu with a somewhat intimidating expression and dared not say much. She put down her glass and ran to find her daughter. There is no Xiao Mei in the room, Aunt Wang knows, and Xiao Dahu also knows. They even know what Xiao Mei did. These days, rumors about Xiao Mei falling in love with a floor sweeper have been circulating throughout the Xiao family. Xiao Dahu and Aunt Wang naturally had heard of it a long time ago. I have spoken and cursed before. But Xiao Mei doesn't listen. As the sun set in the western mountains, Xiao Dahu bid farewell to the guests and sat wearily in a chair to rest, only to see Xiao Mei bouncing in from outside. Xiao Mei saw her father sitting there drinking tea with a straight face, quickly slowing down and preparing to sneak back into the room. At that moment, she heard a loud shout. "You come back to me." Watching Xiao Mei stand in front of him as if nothing had happened, Xiao Dahu became furious and shouted loudly. "Where did you go today? Do you know what day it is? Did you go find that little bastard Xiao Chen again?" Xiao Dahu's mouth asked several questions like a machine gun. Speaking of Xiao Chen, Xiao Da's tiger-like lungs were about to explode. That kid recently gave him both money and gifts, and he thought Xiao Chen had changed his personality. Unexpectedly, that kid didn't have a good heart. It turned out he was here to kidnap his daughter. "No, I just went to the Douqi hall to practice," Xiao Mei denied. "Practice for a day." Xiao Dahu didn't believe it at all and threatened, "In the future, if you let me see you approaching Xiao Chen again, I will drive that kid out of the Xiao family." "Hurry up, you can also drive me out by the way," Xiao Mei said, angrily turning around and leaving. "You." Looking at his daughter's back, Xiao Dahu was as angry as a toad. After a long time, Xiao Dahu's anger had only dissipated halfway. He looked at the woman beside him and asked in a low voice, "Did you see that? Did your daughter get that?" "Which one?" Aunt Wang was taken aback. "Which one are you talking about?" Xiao Dahu's eyes froze for a moment. "It's that." Oh. I understood Xiao Dahu's gestures and then carefully recalled the way my daughter walked today. I shook my head and said, "There shouldn't be." End of this chapter. Is that all for chapter 7? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is that all for chapter 7? Xiao Dahu breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing this, but soon he couldn't sit still. A piece of meat bounces around the wolf's mouth every day, how can he rest assured? He felt it was necessary to go and beat that wolf. Half an hour later, Xiao Dahu sat in front of Xiao Chen. "Xiao Chen, please stay away from Xiao Mei in the future, otherwise it will be when you are kicked out of the Xiao family." Xiao Chen looked bewildered. It was none of his business. Since the last time he gave her a gathering qi powder, she had stuck to herself and couldn't even drive her away. Xiao Mei is now the hope of the Xiao family, and only Xiao Ning is worthy. I advise you not to be ignorant at all costs. Old and immortal, I also advise you to be kind. Don't go too far, otherwise, I will make you happy with your grandson. That night, Xiao Chen was lying in bed, preparing to sleep when he suddenly heard a few long and short knocking sounds outside the door. Upon opening it, it looked like Xiao Mei. Xiao Chen immediately dodged and let her in. Xiao Mei's eyes lit up and she flashed in with joy. In the past, every night, Xiao Chen would not let Xiao Mei in. Xiao Chen glanced left and right, quickly closed the door, turned around, and looked at Xiao Mei, who looked shy as she lowered her head and played with her small hands. Xiao Mei felt Xiao Chen's scorching gaze. "Muster the courage, slowly lift your head," for eyes facing each other. At this moment, it seems like there are only the two of them left in the entire world. The next day, it was just dawn. The door to Xiao Chen's residence suddenly opened. I poked out a small head from inside and looked left and right, then hurriedly slipped out from inside. Her luck was really bad. Just as she entered the door and was quietly preparing to sneak back into her room, she was caught by Aunt Wang, who woke up early. "Where did you go that night?" Aunt Wang immediately understood as she looked at Xiao Mei, who was drowsy. She angrily pointed at Xiao Mei and shook her hand. "Tell me, did you go find that Xiao Chen?" "Oh, no, Mom, you've been overthinking. After tinkering all night yesterday, Xiao Mei was tired now. How could she have the energy to talk to me so much? After a perfunctory remark, she ran back to her room and closed the door. Bang! Looking at the door that had been locked inside, Aunt Wang was so anxious that she stomped her feet. She originally wanted to knock on the door and ask for clarification, but her daughter refused to open it. It's already morning now, and some of the neighbors around have already woken up. How could such a thing be shouted loudly? If it were to be heard and spread, my daughter's reputation would be completely ruined. Aunt Wang hurriedly ran back to the room, picked up Xiao Dahu, and said angrily, "Don't sleep, there's something big going on." "What's wrong?" Xiao Dahu's eyes were drowsy. Aunt Wang repeated what she had just seen in Xiao Dahu's ear. Before she could finish speaking, Xiao Dahu quickly sat up on the bed. "Really? Did you see it clearly? Did you make a mistake? Am I blind? Can I make a mistake?" A novice woman can tell at a glance. After listening to his mother-in-law's words, Xiao Dahu's face turned pale. Yesterday at the table, he even promised the elder to let Xiao Mei and Xiao Ning socialize more. But what should we do now? I told you earlier, Xiao Chen must have had a bad heart when he sent you money. But you didn't listen at all and even brought him over for dinner. Now that everything is okay, he has eaten his daughter. Xiao Chen, you little Wang, you little egg. Xiao Dahu's teeth were almost biting apart. Ah! Ah Qi! Sitting in bed wearing clothes, Xiao Chen suddenly sneezed. Did you catch a cold because you didn't cover yourself well at night? Forget it, no matter what, be careful tonight. After a while, Xiao Chen came out of the room with a tired face and a yawn. He picked up his broom and went to the backyard to start today's sweeping work. He needs to finish the work quickly because he has more important work to do today. The Xiao family does not have an alchemist, let alone a pill room. Xiao Chen can only sign in near Xiao Yan if he wants pills. Last time, he had already signed in with the foundation building spirit liquid once. He couldn't continue to collect wool on a sheep, and Xiao Yan didn't have much. During this period, the medicine master refined low-level pills for him. He is already a fighter now, and those foundation building spiritual fluids that gather qi and disperse are useless. If you want a better pill, you can only sign in at my tel auction. After finishing his work, Xiao Chen slipped out of the Xiao family and headed straight for the Mitel auction house along the path. But what he didn't expect was that, he's stuck. Xiao Ning. Xiao Chen frowned and immediately scanned the surroundings with his sole perception. There was no one, only Xiao Ning. It seemed that he wanted to solve it alone. Young Master Xiao Ning, are you waiting for me specifically? Xiao Chen looked at Xiao Ning standing under the tree in front of him and asked. Dedicated to waiting for you. Do you also deserve it? Xiao Ning sneered. Since it's not, then I'll go. Xiao Chen shook his head slightly and prepared to leave. He didn't want to waste time here. Stop. As Xiao Chen lifted his leg to leave, Xiao Ning shouted loudly, you are just a floor sweeper in the Xiao family, and you will never be worthy of Xiao Mei. I advise you to let go of the toad's desire to eat swan meat. Stay away from her in the future. If I see or hear you again, I will waste you. All right. Before Xiao Ning could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Xiao Chen. There's no need to speak harshly. Let's just take action. Martial strength is the quickest way to solve the problem. After Xiao Chen finished speaking these words, Xiao Ning's face gradually darkened. He never expected that the miscellaneous worker who usually sweeps the floor of the Xiao family would dare to speak to him like this. Where did he get this courage? At present, Xiao Ning sneered and said, I see you're tired of living. Since you're looking for death, I'll give you a ride. After speaking, he launched a swift attack on Xiao Chen. Feeling the fierce energy rushing in front of him, Xiao Chen smiled faintly and said, Is that all? Then, he dodged Xiao Ning's melee attack with ease. How could this be? How could you avoid it? Xiao Ning looked incredulous. As the grandson of the elder of the Xiao family, he has had abundant cultivation resources since childhood, and his talent is also good. At only 17 years old, he has already cultivated to the level of 8 Dan Dou Qi, making him a talented young man of the Xiao family. This genius young man has not even touched the clothes of a floor sweeper. How can he accept this? It's my turn. Xiao Chen finished speaking and grabbed a large stone by the roadside with his hand, only to see it rise out of thin air. Xiao Ning's eyes suddenly widened wider than those of a cow. Then, Xiao Chen pointed in the direction of Xiao Ning, the big stone avatar roared spiritually and flew over. A big stone like this came crashing over, and if he didn't die, he would be disabled. Xiao Ning's face turned pale with fear. Due to being too fast to dodge, Xiao Ning had no choice but to close her eyes. But, after a while, Xiao Ning did not feel any pain. He carefully opened his eyes and saw Xiao Chen with a smiling face not far away. He lowered his head and saw the large stone miraculously floating in front of his chest, only 2 or 3 centimeters away. Xiao Ning, there are people outside of us, there are heavens outside of us, and there are some people you can never provoke. Let's take this as a lesson. By the way, be strict with your mouth, otherwise it won't just be a fracture. After speaking, Xiao Chen turned around and left. Fracture? No, I'm fine. Xiao Ning looked bewildered. But in the next moment, the large stone floating on his chest suddenly fell. Ah! A scream scared away the birds in the forest. Xiao Ning, crushed fracture of the right foot. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. The First Eunuch of Utan City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. The first eunuch of Utan City. In the bustling market, Xiao Chen leisurely walked through the streets, with numerous shops on both sides selling everything. Xiao Chen was almost dazzled by the sight. If you're not going to my Tel auction house, Xiao Chen must take a good stroll here. Walking along, there was a commotion ahead. Is something wrong? Go take a look. Xiao Chen also leaned over there. Behind the crowd stood a young girl, dressed in elegant attire and with an exquisite small face that had not been adorned with any embellishments, naturally born. In addition, the girl's figure is also excellent. Her small waist seems to be able to hold both hands, making people feel the urge to hold her in their arms. The girl was surrounded by members of the gallery family, led by a man wearing a half mask. Judging from her appearance, gallery probably didn't run away. Miss Xiao Yu hasn't seen you for a long time, she still has such a hot temper. Yaohuo smiled and leaned in front of Xiao Yu, saying somewhat lewdly. However, I like it, the spicier the flavor is. Get out of here. Get away from me, I feel nauseous when I see you. After being scolded by Xiao Yu, Yaohuo didn't get angry at all. He even pretended to be a gentleman and extended his hand, saying with a smile, Miss Xiao Yu, we haven't seen each other for a long time. Why don't we find a place to drink and reminisce about the past? Xiao Yu naturally understood what kind of person Yaohuo was and coldly refused, I'm not available, you can find someone else. I have something else to do, please move away. After speaking, he turned around and wanted to pass by Yaohuo's side. But the next moment, the dog leg next to Yaohuo stood up directly, blocking the way with a lewd smile on his face. Looking at the several big men blocking the way, Xiao Yu's pretty face sank and she turned around, coldly saying to Yaohuo, what do you mean? Do you want to take action? Don't forget that this is our Xiao family's neighborhood, don't be too arrogant. Hehe, what about the Xiao family's neighborhood market? Is it very strong? I don't just come and go whenever I want. Besides, I have to take a beauty with me. Yaohuo smiled silver. Upon hearing this, Xiao Yu's pretty face became angry and she didn't speak out, but answered in the most direct way. Pop. A red handprint appeared on Yaohuo's face. Yaohuo was stunned on the spot, he didn't expect that Xiao Yu, this girl, would dare to spank him. Immediately, with a grim expression on his face, he pointed his hand and said, "Get her for me." Galio spoke up, and more than 10 big men behind him immediately surrounded Xiao Yu with fierce faces. At this moment, Xiao Yu was so angry that her eyebrows were on end. With a flick of her hand from her waist, a green long whip fiercely swung towards the rushing man. With a snap sound, a long bloodstain appeared on the latter's face. Although Xiao Yu was a 3-star fighter, the strength of the opponent's more than 10 strong men was also around the level of a fighter. After knocking over 2 or 3 strong men, Xiao Yu gradually fell into a disadvantage and could only dodge in embarrassment. With another palm, a big man was knocked back by vomiting blood, and Xiao Yu also retreated with a slightly pale face. Finally, he retreated to the wall, where there was nowhere else to retreat. Seeing that Xiao Yu had nowhere to run, the big man who had been whipped by her before slowly surrounded him with a fierce face. Seeing that Xiao Yu was about to be arrested and the Xiao family guard had not yet arrived, Xiao Chen had no choice but to take action. Taking out a black scarf from his pocket, wrapping it around his face, he reached out his palm and sucked at the strong man approaching Xiao Yu. I saw the big man fly backwards, in mid-air, with a flick of Xiao Chen's palm. The person fiercely smashed towards Galio and others. Galio reacted quickly and quickly squatted down, somewhat comically avoiding the onslaught of flesh and eggs, but the people around him were not so lucky and were knocked down by 3 or 4 people in one fell swoop. Xiao Chen made a move on his side, and the onlookers around him quickly gave him a place to play, probably afraid of bringing disaster to the fish in the pond. Galio's guards immediately came over and surrounded Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen scanned around them, ignored them directly, and then walked straight to Xiao Yu, who was standing by the wall and felt a bit embarrassed. He asked in a gentle tone, "Are you okay?" Xiao Yu looked at the young man covered in black cloth and was a bit stunned. She couldn't even recognize who it was. If it weren't for the other person wearing Zhao's clothes and just hitting Galio, she couldn't even tell if it was an enemy or a friend. She was stunned for a moment before whispering, "I'm fine. It's okay." "What the hell are you? You can take the rag off your face for me." Looking at them, they are going to talk. Galio is angry. Xiao Chen shook his head with a faint smile, turned his head, and looked at Galio with a smile, saying, "You're not polite at all." After speaking, I directly sucked Galio in with my palm. This is a square market, and Xiao Chen is not convenient to use the strange fire. After all, that thing is too powerful and a bit shocking. But gravel palms are very suitable. Just as Galio was sucked in, he was still shouting, "Release me quickly," when Xiao Chen slapped him on the ground with a crushed stone palm. The guards of the Jia Lai family became anxious when they saw how badly their young master had been beaten. They rushed forward, ready to rescue their young master. Xiao Yu, who was behind Xiao Chen, was the first to react, waving his green whip and vigorously whipping the Jia Lai family guards who rushed forward. "Don't you have the concept of a hostage yet?" Xiao Chen finished speaking and punched Galio in the crotch. At the same time, Xiao Chen secretly infused his fighting spirit from his crotch into his body, shattering Galio's internal organs. In this way, death is only a matter of time for Galio. At least 3 or 4 days, at most 4 or 5 days, Galileo will die. Ah! A pig-like scream echoed through half of the neighborhood. Even the mercenaries who often lick blood at the edge of the knife were startled. They had never seen such a fierce one before, and they felt a chill in their pants. Is it useless? Is the egg useless? Definitely, TSK, everyone has passed out, it hurts so much. Isn't the Jia family about to become extinct? It happened so suddenly that no one expected that just a moment ago, Galio went from a man to a eunuch. The Jia Lai family guards, who had just fought with Xiao Yu, stopped fighting and quickly signaled for someone. Xiao Yu became anxious when she saw Xiao Chen squatting next to Galio drawing. She walked over and picked him up, saying, "Don't leave yet. Wait for me for a moment, I'll be ready soon." Xiao Chen shook off Xiao Yu's hand and quickly checked in on the ground. Successful check.in, rewarded with Windstorm Decision. Seeking collection and recommendation, end of this chapter. Chapter 9. Battle of Fangshi. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 9 Battle of Fangshi. The residence of the elder of the Xiao family. As he watched his grandson being carried back by someone, the elder looked affectionate and asked, "What's going on? Didn't you go to the neighborhood to find your sister? How did this happen?" Xiao Ning hesitated for several times, but finally didn't have the courage to speak up about that guy. In the end, she could only whisper. "I was hit by a stone. How could you smash it so badly? You were too careless." Faced with his grandfather's criticism, Xiao Ning could only listen. Although he is angry now, he dare not vent his anger on his grandfather. Isn't he just a fighter? If we call his sister Xiao Yu and call out to the fighters of several family guard teams to deal with that miscellaneous worker, it won't be a piece of cake. I must make that kid kneel down and beg for mercy then. Isn't he just relying on his strange fighting skills that he doesn't know where to learn from? What's amazing about it? Thinking of this, Xiao Ning was suddenly taken aback. What exactly is that strange fighting skill? What fighting skills can control objects? Grandpa, do we have any fighting skills in our family that can be used to control objects? That's at least something that can be achieved through martial arts above the Xuanjia level. How could our Xiao family have it? No, it's not right. Where did that miscellaneous worker learn from? Did you encounter an adventure on any cliff or cave? Although he had heard of someone picking up combat skills and techniques left behind by predecessors in the Warcraft forest of Douqi continent a long time ago, they were all opportunities for very few lucky individuals. How could that kid sweeping the floor have such good luck? However, it will soon be his too, hehe. At this moment, a guard ran in from outside and shouted, "Elder, things are not going well, Miss Xiao Yu, something's wrong." "What's wrong with Xiao Yu? What's wrong?" The elder grabbed the guard's collar and urgently asked. "Miss Xiao Yu has been surrounded by Galio in the local market, and they claim to want to take Miss Xiao Yu away." What? Upon hearing this, both elder and Xiao Ning were burning with anger. Galona was a notorious playboy in Utan city, and if he kidnapped Xiao Yu, the consequences would be unimaginable. "Call everyone who can call and come with me. Damn it, if that bastard Galio dares to touch Xiao Yu, I'll have to kill him. At such a young age, my heart is so cruel. Today, I will teach his people a good lesson on behalf of Xiao Zhan." Just as Xiao Chen and Xiao Yu were about to leave, the members of the Jiaoya family arrived first. After Jia Libi arrived, he was furious when he saw his son's tragic situation. In his palms, the blue fighting spirit rapidly condensed, and a circle of wind formed under his feet. He then carried it in mid-air, like a shell, diving towards Xiao Chen. With a wave of his palm, a light blue fighting spirit wind blade appeared out of thin air again, shooting fiercely at Xiao Chen and Xiao Yu. The strong wind pressure generated by the wind blade instantly blew the debris on the ground clean. Even the mercenaries standing on the side watching the excitement were swayed by the wind. "This tornado is quite strong. Teach me a lesson." "You don't deserve it," Xiao Chen sneered and casually sent a mini version of the Little Lotus Demon Fire to Jia Libi, then pulled Xiao Yu back quickly. Although there is a significant difference in strength between Xiao Chen and Jia Libi, he has the pure Lotus Demon Fire and is not afraid of him at all. But this is the neighborhood market. A mix of fish and dragons. If he uses the pure Lotus Demon Fire to kill Galeb, then he became famous in the Gamma Empire. People fear fame, pigs fear strength. For Xiao Chen now, this is not a good thing. I don't know how many people will come to snatch his strange fire. At first, Jia Libi didn't take it seriously, but as the pure Lotus Demon Fire approached, a chill rose in his heart. He didn't dare to push it too hard, so he quickly tried his best to avoid it. But that's how it burned a large piece of the extra wide sleeves. Looking at his own cuffs, Galabai was sweating profusely. He didn't know that Xiao Chen didn't use all his strength, he just used 10% of his fighting spirit. "Father, kill him," Galio immediately shouted with resentment as he saw the figure appearing next to him. Galabai glanced at his son, whose crotch was constantly rolling on the ground with both hands. A gloomy expression immediately appeared on Galabai's face, and the killing intent in his eyes grew even stronger. "Are you okay?" Galio did not answer, but urged, "Kill him quickly, I want him to die, everyone must die." Jia Libi nodded but did not answer. He stomped his foot on the ground and charged towards Xiao Chen again, "If you dare to harm my son, you will die." After speaking, his figure turned out to be like a gust of fresh wind, appearing eerily above the heads of Xiao Chen and Xiao Yu. A ferocious expression flashed across his expressionless face, his fists clenched fiercely, and the surging green fighting spirit on it quickly condensed into a huge blue vortex. "Sleeping trough, come again, don't you want your face?" Feeling the fierce force contained in Galabai's fist, Xiao Chen's face suddenly became very ugly, and he became a bit angry. It seems that strength cannot be hidden anymore. In one of his palms, a lotus-shaped flame quietly appeared, and there was even a golden light in the flame. Xiao Yu, who was protected by Xiao Chen behind her, had already felt Galabai's fierce anger and the terror of the wind blade emitted by the Xuanjie wind curl. But none of these are important to her. The important thing is that in such a dangerous situation, there is still someone standing in front of her to block her. Although his shoulders and body were not large, the strong warmth had already melted Xiao Yu's cold heart. "No, it's not possible, I don't want him to die." Just as Xiao Chen was about to take action and Xiao Yu was about to sacrifice for love, a roaring roar filled with anger suddenly exploded on the street again. "Damn it, Gale old dog, I'm from the Xiao family. When will it be your turn, you bastard, to teach me a lesson?" As soon as the cheers fell, a figure with a golden glow flashed over from outside the neighborhood. With a fierce tap on a rooftop, its figure appeared lightning fast in front of Xiao Chen and Xiao Yu. Then he looked up and let out a loud roar, with a faint sound of lion's roar in the midst of the roar. Lion Mountain Crack, with a serious expression on his face, Xiao Zhan clenched his iron fist and immediately slammed it towards Galabai above his head. Above his fist, a huge yellow lion's head appeared faintly visible. Bang! The transition between green and yellow, like a thunderous explosion, made most people on the street feel a bit dizzy. Halfway through the air, the two people who were bombarding each other trembled slightly, and their bodies quickly retreated. At this moment, Xiao Chen pulled Xiao Yuto and ran far away without even looking back. There was a tall man standing against him, and he was still afraid. Jia Libi and Xiao Zhan hurriedly took a few steps back on the ground, leaving a visible footprint on the floor with each step. This shows how powerful the two sides were in their fight against the roar. As his energy dissipated, Xiao Zhan coldly glanced at Jia Libi not far away and sneered, "Jia Libi, you really live up to the dog. You have the face to attack two younger generations." Gabriel's face was gloomy, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. He pointed to Gabriel on the ground and said coldly, "He beat my son like this. Xiao Zhan, today, you need to give me an explanation. Tell me the truth, it was your son who bullied the members of the Xiao family first. Now lying on the ground, it's his fault, he deserves it." Xiao Zhan sneered and said, "Chief Jia Lai, I advise you not to rush for the tape. If you delay any longer, your son will probably have a hiccup." An extremely arrogant voice came from the crowd behind Xiao Zhan. Everyone looked at the sound and saw a thin and weak young man dressed in Zhao's miscellaneous clothes, which did not match the disdainful look on his face. You twitched a few times after finishing your breath, and then looked at your son who was still rolling on the ground. Knowing that he couldn't continue to delay, he gritted his teeth and said, "You all wait for me." End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Can even a sweeper become a fighter? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Can even a sweeper become a fighter? Watching the disheveled Jia Libi and his group leave the market, Xiao Zhan sneered and scanned the surroundings before turning around to look at Xiao Chen and Xiao Yu standing in the crowd. With a slight smile on his lips, he walked straight to Xiao Chen and patted his shoulder, asking, "What's your name?" "Xiao Chen." "Xiao Chen." Xiao Zhan thought for a moment and then asked in a surprised tone, "Are you father named Xiao Feng?" Xiao Chen nodded and said, "Yes. They have all grown up so much. Back then, your father and I had a deep friendship." Speaking of this, Xiao Zhan's voice suddenly paused. The miscellaneous clothes on Xiao Chen's body made him feel ashamed. Shaking his head and sighing, he said, "Although I am the patriarch, I am not the only one in the Xiao family who has the final say." Xiao Chen nodded and said with a bitter smile, "Actually, being a laborer is also quite good. Freedom, there's nothing to worry about, and you can still cultivate fighting spirit in your free time. Are you already a fighter now?" When he first arrived, he had already seen Galio being beaten so badly. If Xiao Chen's strength was not that of a fighter, he would definitely not be able to fight. "It should be a 5-star fighter, I haven't tested it before," Xiao Chen smiled bitterly and said, "My current identity doesn't qualify me." "What? The 5-star fighter?" Xiao Zhan was immediately shocked upon hearing this, and his face lit up with joy. He pulled Xiao Chen's arm and said, "Let's go and test it now." Everyone had just returned to the entrance of the Xiao family, but before they could enter, they saw the elder of the Xiao family hurriedly coming out with a group of people. "What's going on?" Xiao Zhan asked. "Save my granddaughter." Elder De and Xiao Zhan have never dealt much with each other, and now they are anxious. There's no way they would argue with him and just leave. "Is your granddaughter not here anymore?" Xiao Zhan quickly grabbed the elder. "Grandpa." At this moment, Xiao Yu also walked out of the crowd. Are you okay? Have you been injured?" the elder asked urgently. After asking again, it was confirmed that Xiao Yu was not injured, and the elder finally felt relieved. At this moment, he thought of something again and bowed to Xiao Zhan, saying, "Thank you very much for the help of Xiao clan leader. Your great kindness and kindness will never be forgotten." You thanked the wrong person." Xiao Zhan laughed and waved his hand, then pointed at Xiao Chen and said, "It was Xiao Chen who saved your granddaughter. I was just going to finish it. I want to thank you and thank him." "Is that you?" The elder looked at Xiao Chen in front of him, dressed in miscellaneous clothes, and couldn't believe it. Just a miscellaneous worker, how could he save his granddaughter? His granddaughter Xiao Yuka is already a fighter. The people behind the elder who belong to the same faction as him do not believe that a handyman can save the fighters. Moreover, they all knew that the feud between the clan leader and the elder was deep, and it must have been intentional by Xiao Zhan to make the elder look unsightly. After all, it's not honorable that a fighter still needs a handyman to save them. In the future, it will inevitably become a joke for the elders. Xiao Zhan saw through the elder's doubts at a glance and smiled, "Can't you tell? Xiao Chen is also a fighter, and he is also a 5-star fighter." "What? He's a 5-star fighter? He's a floor sweeper, I know him." "That's it, it's impossible." As soon as Xiao Zhan finished speaking, the people in front of him were boiling. They didn't believe that a floor sweeper could become a 5-star fighter at a young age. His age is similar to that of Xiao Xun'er. Can anyone be even more talented than Miss Xun'er? Are you mistaken? How could he be a 5-star fighter? Yuer has gone to study at Canaan College, and now she is only a 3-star fighter. The elder looked at Xiao Zhan and asked, if it weren't for Xiao Zhan just bringing his granddaughter back, he would have mocked him long ago. "Is that right? Just go to the square for a test and you'll know," Xiao Zhan said with a smile, seemingly calm and composed. The elder didn't speak and directly ordered a middle-aged man beside him, "Xiao San, go and invite 2 elders and the elders of the clan." Yes, a member of the tribe took orders and left. The people here went straight to the square. Not long after, Xiao Ning was being held up by his clan members and also came over. Seeing her younger brother being held up, as if he had been seriously injured, Xiao Yu suddenly became anxious. The first thing she thought of was being beaten by Xiao Yan, and she urgently asked, "Did Xiao Yan do it?" As soon as everyone heard this, they all looked at Xiao Ning, and even Xiao Zhan turned his head. "Although the morning was fine, why was your foot injured before noon?" The person who got into a fight with the garrison family in Fangshi was unharmed. On the contrary, the person who didn't go home was injured. How can this be said in the past? Yes. It's Xiao Chen. Seeing Xiao Yu, Xiao Ning seemed to have seen the backbone and instantly forgot Xiao Chen's warning, only feeling a belly full of grievances. After all, Xiao Ning was bullied since childhood, and it was Xiao Yu who helped her find the place. Me. Are you sure? Xiao Chen sneered. Xiao Ning looked at Xiao Chen's bloodthirsty eyes, so scared that she couldn't even say a word. It can't be him, we've been together all along. It was him and Uncle Xiao Zhan who saved me in the neighborhood just now. Xiao Yu stood directly next to Xiao Chen, eagerly explaining to him. Xiao Ning wanted to cry without tears. You must have misread. Half an hour later, the Xiao family square was filled with clan members. What happened? Today is neither the 1st nor the 15th day of junior high school. I don't know, I heard there seems to be a fighter among the miscellaneous workers. Is it really fake? No way. Testing Douqi is a big deal for the Xiao family members. Moreover, today is not a day to test one's fighting spirit, specifically for testing one's fighting spirit, but it has never happened before. Basically, all the members of the family have come. Of course, the Xiao Dahu family is also indispensable. Since Xiao Dahu learned in the morning that his precious daughter had been stolen by Xiao Chen, he had gone to Xiao Chen's residence 3 times with a knife. Oh, isn't that Xiao Chen, that little bastard? Aunt Wang pointed to Xiao Chen standing on the square test bench. In fact, when she first arrived, Xiao Mei saw Xiao Chen standing on the stage. In order not to be noticed by her father and mother, she could only sneak a glance when they were not paying attention. What is he standing there for? Xiao Dahu said in confusion. At this moment, several members of his clan who knew him walked over and bowed to him, saying, "The steward has taught you well." Miss Xiao Mei was promoted to the rank of Dou at a young age, and now even the servants under the steward are Dou. Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations. According to me, Brother Tiger shouldn't be the butler, but the head coach. What are you talking about? Brother Tiger is now fully qualified to be promoted to elder status. End of this chapter.